All right. Welcome to another episode of Connect and Politic. We're here with a special guest. Please tell us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say I appreciate you recognizing that I am a special guest. It's been a long time. First of all, you interviewed my wife before me, and I was thinking to myself, why is this man leaving me out? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with this young fella over here? Does he not realize that I'm dynamic? All right, but so I am in my basement right now in Rockville, city of Rockville, Maryland. Thankfully, I did watch this an episode, so I do know this the answer to this, and I would not otherwise. But my favorite snack is going to be Oreo cookies. Some milk. Sometimes I'll just drop it in there, let it soak up the milk, and then eat it out of there. That's my favorite snack.
Any special type of Oreo? It's actually another alum favorite snack as well.
But Milk's favorite cookie, man. Special type? No, your regular type. Well, double stuff. I like double stuff Oreos.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
That's the way to go.
Do you remember your favorite food as a child?
Shit. So I'm gonna say it so I'm Haitian. My favorite food as a child, when I was growing up, it's called diri kole ak pois. So all you Haitians who know what I'm talking about. So that's basically rice and beans, like, you know, not the beans, not the beans separate, but like it's mixed in with the rice. Mm-hmm. So it's rice and beans put together. Diri kole ak pois literally means rice stuck with beans.
So this is similar to the Jamaican rice and peas, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then some legume. Yep, that's it.
Nice. What's your fondest memory from childhood?
Oh, damn. I should have been prepared for that. But what is my fondest memory from childhood? Okay, I'm going to go with this one because it came to my mind, so it must be. There was one time when I was young and, you know, it was my birthday, but I didn't. Either it was my birthday or it was a day before my birthday or a day after. I don't know, because it wasn't in my mind. Like they were actually doing like a surprise birthday party for me, like my you know, family and friends, but not like the adults, like just the kids. Mm. And they put something together, and I remember, you know, they were blindfolding me and that kind of thing, and they were like, "There's a special guest." And at that time, I was, you know, super religious. So in my mind, I was like, what, did Jesus come down or something? Swear to God, that was what was going in my mind. I was just freaking young and crazy. And so, yeah, so that was, that I remember that one. That, you know, I felt really special after that, for that birthday party. So that's the fondest one.
That's dope. What age was that?
So I came here when I was 7. I want to say maybe 9, 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. How do you think? So you spent part of your childhood in Haiti.
Yeah.
And then you know, you came here. So, and how do you think your childhood helped groom you into the person you are today?
In Haiti, or just my childhood in general?
Yeah, just in general. I mean, the combination of, you know, both growing up early in Haiti and then coming here as an immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So couple of, I mean, you know, as with everybody in multiple different ways. Excuse me. I think on the one hand, being the child of an immigrant, being an immigrant myself, you know, you come in from a place that is full of poverty, and you come in and understand the opportunity that's given to you. And so my parents were very ambitious in terms of what they desired for me and for their children. And so from that perspective, you know, they imprinted upon me the need for education first and the desire to succeed. But at the same time, you know, my need to belong at that time. So two things. The first is that, you know, I think there was always, and I don't know if it's necessarily because I was an immigrant or if it's just part of what people go through as human beings, having to deal with, insecurities or whatever the case may be. But like, I've always felt like I think that plays a role in my feeling like I'm not necessarily good enough at any given point or whatever it is that I'm doing. So I've always, although I wanted to achieve something, I've always at every given stage, like I'm not good enough. So at some point I'm going to get there.
Mhm.
And so that's something that I'm dealing with at the moment. I feel like, and that's what I attributed to. I'm still trying to analyze it. But what I say is that the need to belong also, forced me to try to run into certain crowds. Um, you know, so one of the things that Bola and I, we also do a podcast. Sorry to plug ourselves on your thing.
No, it's your stage.
That's what's up.
That's what it
But
is.
we always plug you. Let me just say, if you listen to our podcast, you'll see that you're mentioned multiple times as well. So, but anyways, we do a podcast, and one of the things that we talked
And
about.
the
Huh?
name of the podcast is Someday is Today.
Someday is today. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Someday is today. Find it on all your favorite places to listen to podcasts. And one of the things that we talk about in the episode on authenticity is how I find myself living in two separate worlds, like a professional, whatever the case may be, but also understanding what my desire and the things that I was attracted to when I was young, and kind of feeling sometimes like I don't necessarily belong. So I think it, all those things play a role into the person that I find myself to be today.
Yeah. And you brought up your parents. So what are some of the most important lessons you think you learned from your parents?
Yeah. See, I also talk about this as well because my father is extremely hardworking. He has a lot of great traits. We traveled with my father. He turned 70 when we turned 40, so he was out in our trip to Italy. But he has a lot of great traits that I didn't think he imparted upon me because he didn't have the kind of relationship that I am able to have with my children because of what he, how hard he worked to make sure that he was able to provide and give us an opportunity, get an education such that I can now have a job that allows me the time to sit and build a relationship with my children. My dad, would leave from 6 in the morning and not get back to like midnight when we were supposed to be asleep. And so there's a lot of things that he did not impart on me, like his, not, I want to say his work ethic because I have a good work ethic, but like just some great qualities, like his ability to, build strong bonds and relationships with people, his discipline, his organization, and things like that. So, I wish I had more opportunity to learn some of the things that he would have been able to teach me. I would say that I don't know. I think there's a lot of the lessons that I learned were from him probably having the time to teach my eldest brother, Ro. You know what I'm saying? He when he was because Rosie, he came to the United States before us. He was the eldest, different moms, and he was living with his father for a little time. And then when, my dad, who is a very responsible person, he relatively speaking, because he has, the man had multiple babies' moms, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't say from the beginning, I'm just going to sit in Haiti and figure it out. He was like, okay, I'm going to make a way and I'm going to call back for my children. So he found himself here, an illegal immigrant, found a way to make it. When he got here, he called, he basically came and grabbed all his children from the various different moms, and we all lived under one roof. So the man, he did his thing in that regard. Like he didn't just leave. And that's definitely something that, okay, so let me say that. With respect to my parents, one of the things that I would say that he did a very good job, although he wasn't there, he was definitely a good father in the way that he wasn't absent. Like you could tell that the man was doing his best. You could tell that he valued his children. Like whenever he was able to tell impart any kind of insight on us on education or whatever it was. Like he used to have little sayings that he would say to us every now and again. Go slow. I am in a hurry. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of like basically, whenever it is that you're rushing, that's when you can make the most mistakes. Now you got to calm yourself down, so you can do it. Or a Styles P said it this way: is like, let the sweat dry off and then grab the cannon. So essentially, cool down first, just chill. And that's when you're not going to make some mistakes by being in a rush and doing something crazy. But so I would say that, having that as an example definitely made me what I feel like one of the areas that I am very confident about my ability is what I do with my children. So, I think I will attribute that to what my dad was able to do.
Nice. What are your favorite things to do for self-care?
For self what?
Self-care.
Self-care. Well, now, I guess now, well, not now since we're in COVID, but like recently, as of a year before I turned 40, I started going to the weight room, trying to make myself healthy. Lost a lot of weight by doing intermittent fasting. But I'm a simple man. Good TV show, good movie. That's definitely some things that I like. A drink every now and again, chilling with the wife, with the children, traveling. Whenever I can get a chance to travel, and notice the peace and serenity. Those are the kind of things that I do for self-care.
Nice. What's your favorite type of drink?
Of drink?
Yep.
Like alcoholic or any drink whatsoever?
Any country. You said, drinking is one of your.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So, so I used to be a heavy beer drinker, but like, it's a lot of calories, empty calories, a lot of water and stuff like that. So, yeah. So now I've been going with harder liquors. I'm older now, so the hangovers are a little stronger, a little more ready to be present the next day. So, Tito's vodka, you know what I'm saying? Tito's vodka, you don't get as much hangovers from Tito's vodka. So I do the vodka thing. And because I actually really like whiskey, but whiskey will give me a headache. So, I gotta chill on the whiskey.
Yeah. Is there something that you're looking forward to that excites you?
Man, look forward to the weekends. The weekends, and it's not just like seriously when traveling, but I want to get back to the weekends. Because we chill, like me and Bola, we chill, like we enjoy each other's company, which is good. We chill, like we'll get a drink. We get pizza for the kids every Friday, but then we are chilling on the week. Like we're having a good time, and enjoying ourselves, enjoying each other. So I really look forward to that. But if you're talking on a grander scale, I don't know that I have anything in particular right now. I'm kind of going through a transition in my life, and trying to just be happy with what I added. Not trying, but being happy and continuously reminding myself to be happy, and going through a stage where I'm finding what my next desires and goals are going to be. So I'm just living right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the weekend. That's a good one. What do you do in your professional life, and how did you get to where you are?
In my professional life, I do a couple of things. So I do a project management for an IT firm. It's mainly pays the bills right now. I'm also partner in a company, Bola, and I started for small business consulting, and that's where my focus is going to be. I'm actually really looking into transitioning off. I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I want to do my own thing. That's a little scary. She's not working, and we have bills and children and things of that nature. But I'm hoping that the vision and the dream that I'm putting out in the universe is going to come through. And so part of also, like, there's a lot of things that I'm jumping into. Right now, my brother and Bola's cousins are doing this real estate type thing. So that's another area that I'm hoping could bring some income. But you're talking, what I do specifically to make sure I get consistent income, then that's that project management role that I have with the small company I work with.
Yeah. Is there something on your bucket list to learn?
Uh, on my bucket list to learn, inner peace, man. Like inner peace. And consistent or persistent, even persistent happiness and contentment. That's it. I'm pretty good in terms of everything else. Whatever happens, happens. But like, I guess that would be the main thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like inner peace.
So how do you go about learning inner peace?
So that's part of what we're doing with Some Days Today, right? One day, Bola, I don't know. Okay, I don't know exactly. If I were to pinpoint it, even though I don't know that she would say that, or maybe she would, and I'm gonna give kind of like a backdrop of everything that's happening to answer that kind of question. All right, so, and Mike, you know this very well. You are our good friend from way back in undergrad, but we were going through it in our relationship, like I don't know, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. I don't remember exactly when, but we were really contemplating. Well, she was more than. Well, no, we were. Like, I kind of forget. Like, I'm usually a person who really remembers, but I kind of forget how, you know, how upset I was when she says how, because I never actually, although I at the time I felt it, but like when she said she was really about to let go, like, it really reminds me how bad it was, and I was like, wow, I can't even remember that it was that bad. But yeah, it was that bad. And but anyways, I think at the time she started to just envision a life without me. And so that meant, like, I have to go and be on my own. Like, I have to figure out how to do shit on my own. And I think that's what started it down the path. But like, what pushed her even further was like a Oprah, Super Soul Sunday Oprah on Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is like this spiritual teacher, you want to call them. And he has a book called New Earth. And so Oprah was doing like a 10-part series on it, and she listened to it, and she was like, oh my God, I know what I have to do. And she's like set out on this freaking journey that was scaring the shit out of me. Because on the one hand, it was like, damn, she seems to be moving much like at a different pace, and I need to keep up. And on the other hand, she was just doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff that, like quit her job and all this other stuff. She was making really good money, making sure everything, that we were able to do and sustain stuff was going on. And so she quit her job, started doing a whole bunch of traveling and all that good stuff. And then I'm here basically trying to hang on. And eventually, because I was trying to hang on, the stuff started to seep in my head. And the first book I read that actually made sense to me, because I'm a skeptic on most of these things, was, and I had to say, reread Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I remember the first time I read it, it didn't really click for me. And I didn't even realize how metaphysical it was the first time I read it. And then the second time I read it, because it was recommended to me by somebody who also believes in the power of manifesting. The second time I read it, it was like, wow, this is very metaphysical, but he's explaining it in a way that's more scientific. And now I can get it. And so that set me on my own journey. And I started reading books upon, different kinds of books. I read the Eckhart Tolle. It was just hitting me in a way that, otherwise wouldn't. And so, for me, how do you go about getting inner peace? For me, it's about pushing down those limitations and those walls, your mental limitations and walls that I think as a human being that we are forced, I want to say, to put on ourselves. Society and ourselves, we're being forced to do it. The minute somebody has to tell you no as a baby because they don't want you to die, they don't want you to hurt yourself, you already, there's nothing you can do about it because that's how I can prevent you from dying, right? But it's also what starts the beginning of the walls around your life. And because I need to make you a productive member of society, the way that we have structured society, because we want to get advancement, I have to do what I feel like is going to make you that. And so it starts to create this idea of what your persona is. And this is what I was talking about with respect to like growing up and um, having to try to belong and all these other things, was creating this idea of my mind, this narrative of what character I should play. And so one of the things that it talks about in many of these books that I'm reading is, first identifying that this is the ego, thing that's created, this character that's created is not necessarily who you are for real, because if you can look at this thing, like if you can analyze this behavior, it can't really be you, right? Because if it's one in part of you, like you can't look at it. Like you can't, like, I'm looking at a wall and saying, look at this wall, it's gray, whatever. And sometimes when you're thinking, you can analyze your own thoughts. So it can't really be you, it's a caricature. And so once you recognize that, then you start to, I think, go down the journey of recognizing how we are telling ourselves stories that create the turmoil in our lives. And it's not an easy thing. I've had 40 years of building it, but it's that thing that eventually, when you start knocking down the walls, and that's part of, I also, as part of Ebola's podcast, do like the male bonding thing. I've interviewed you as well, and I'm interviewing multiple people. But that part of what I'm doing in there is forcing myself not to be afraid of looking like or being something different than the idea I put in my own head, like pushing past that. And once you get past all of those, then no one, like you, if you have no inhibitions, no ideas, no preconceived ideas, of who you should be, then I feel like at some point you attain bliss. That and many other things, but so long story long, I hope it makes sense, but just continuing to push past your limitations.
Yeah. No, that's good. I hope I get it, and I hope others do as well. Can you think of any advice that you would give your younger self?
Yeah. It ain't that serious. Um, it ain't that serious. This is what I tell my children. Don't run. I think I'm an excellent runner. And by run, I mean like it's like escape the pain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm out. Like if I'm not feeling what's going on, I'm gone. Like I've always, like I said also earlier, I've always thought to myself, okay, I don't necessarily feel like I'm good enough, but I've always said, you know what, I just got to do this, and one day I'll get there. It was just for me another, it was a well disguised way of running away from your issues, from what you had to sit and learn and suffer through. So, what I would say to my younger self is, sit in the pain, grow from it. No pain, no gain is not just for lifting weights. Like you gotta sit in the emotional pain. You gotta deal with it, and you gotta get around it, or you're not gonna grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the best advice you've received?
Best advice I've receive. I'm gonna go with this one because that's I, I probably I mean there's probably a ton of good ones. You know, Bola and I we talk all the time. I think that's why we got a good dynamic. Like we talk really well together. But I recently, when I thought about authenticity, um, one of the greatest ones that she told me is, you know, you gotta basically be yourself because, you know, when you're sitting there essentially um, trying to present an image because you're like, this is how I want to look. You can twist and turn and contort yourself in many different ways, and people are still gonna have an image of you that you would prefer not to have. Like not necessarily negative, but like this is the, you know, and sometimes it is negative, but it's not even negative. It's one that you're considering to be negative because this is what I said. This is how you should look at me. This man right here. And then it's like, no, I see you as this man right there. So it's like, what the hell, man? I said this one. So, you know, it's like there's nothing you could do to get somebody to view you in exactly, or the world to view you in exactly the way that you are sitting there trying to present yourself. So freaking let it go and be yourself, whether good or bad. I think that was great advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I agree. I don't know, Bola and I have talked about this. You and I have talked about this. I don't know if it's learned or if it's innate, why some people seem to have this more than others. Um, where some people can just be themselves, right? Just be comfortable in being whoever they are, whatever that means. Whereas others are more concerned and, kind of stuck in their head uh, as to what they're doing, and then how others are perceiving what they're doing, and it creates this feedback loop that can be extremely, counterproductive, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say to this, I think, you know, unless you have attained that level of peace that I am seeking, I would say that most people deal with it some obviously more than others. I would say, and then it also depends on context, right? Like if I am absolutely comfortable with the person, then I don't necessarily, or the people that I'm around, I don't necessarily do it. But and so there are people who I know, like for example, Bola I know is definitely much better at this than I am, but depending on where she is, you know, she's probably going to be in her head as well. So like, you know, like whatever it is that your barrier is, you've got to figure out how to knock it down. But yeah, I do agree. And even those that appear to do it better, because like, you know, sometimes like they say comedians, for example, like, you know, shit, know this man's name. Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I swear in my life, there's no way in the world I would have thought this man was unhappy. You know what I'm saying? But they do say this about comedians. It's like, it's just their mechanism. It's just their own defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You know, like the comedy is just their own defense mechanism. So just because to the world it looks like they're super happy, it doesn't mean they're not playing and wearing a mask either. Yeah. And some people just, you know, have a different way of manifesting their inhibitions. And so, but yeah, I do think that some people, because of their experience, have learned to be a little bit more free, have learned to accept their ability to be whoever they want to be at the time that they want to be it, or they haven't really had to deal with the feeling of being multiple different people. I think that's what it is. Again, another plug for the podcast and authenticity, but I think what it is when you feel that way, it's because you're not necessarily comfortable with who you should be at that given point. So like when you're with your people, I'm who the hell I am. When you're at a different place where you're not comfortable, it's like, shit, should I be who the hell I am? Yeah. And so some people don't deal with that as much because, you know, they don't, you know, they're either in a place where they're always who they can always be who they are, or they or they haven't had to deal with that as much. Is the best way I can describe it. And I know I'm not going into detail, but this is not a topic about this, and I don't want to go too deep into it.
Yeah, no. I mean, we'll probably do. I'll probably have another interview with you and Bola, and we can dive deep into this piece. What has been the toughest thing you've had to endure or tackle, and what helped you get through it?
All right, so this is where Bola said her marriage.
This is just FYI.
I was in the other room like, come on, man, what you doing? Now I got this image where I'm perfect, and you over here talking about this.
so right then and there, I guess in your head, you were playing like, oh my God, what is going on, right? But okay.
To a certain extent, I was more cool with it, but yeah, to a certain extent.
I
didn't know whether or not you'd be posting on YouTube either.
Oh, okay. I also want to say that just by default, you mentioned Bola so much in this that she's like a second guest. Like she's already in this interview. So it's good. That's good. That's love.
Pretty much.
Go on.
Pretty much. Like, I mean, the way we roll right now, the way I roll right now, and you'll see this in even though she still gets on my goddamn nerves. You know what I'm saying? When you're constantly with somebody, they're gonna get on your goddamn nerves. But like the way I am right now, like I really admire and really appreciate her for being as free as she is, because that's, I want to attain that level. I know she's still pushing, so I want to attain that level. So at this point, because of where I'm heading, like I definitely appreciate what she brings. So yeah.
Yeah. So what's the toughest thing you've had to tackle?
Oh yeah. So toughest thing we've been discussing all day, and so it's kind of sound like it's gonna sound like a broken record, and I would love to have something a little bit different for you guys, but I think it's dealing with my own head, really. Dealing with my own head, and still trying to deal with that. Like I feel like I've needlessly tortured myself. You know what I mean? Like needlessly wasn't grateful for the things that I was able to do and accomplish. And like I've always compared myself to others and felt like I should have been further along. On paper, if you think about where I come from, like Haiti, and I have a business degree, a law degree, and all that good stuff. I have a good family, home, and all that good stuff. I could be really grateful for what I have, but like at every point, like I said, I've never felt like I was good enough. And so I've always struggled with my inner head, even though I'm presenting myself as a person who is, constantly depressed. And that's not how I appeared. Like the person who would, there would be few people who would necessarily say that I was an unhappy person, but I definitely was a person who was sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's also part of, I feel like, growing up too. Like there are some people who could quickly, that their wit was quick, so they could snap back real quick. That wasn't me. So if I'm not going to be able to come back at you, you ain't gonna be making fun of me. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be that. So the way I thought about it, and this is something that I'm still, working on finding a solution to, because this is what I do. But it's basically like the way I look at it is I've seen the kids that are the clowns. Like every single day, that's the one that they're making fun of. That's not gonna be me, bro. So there's a thin line for me between respect and joking, and I've always, because I'm always in my head, wanted to stay real clear of that line. So I guess that's the one thing you would know about me from knowing that I was tortured. But other than that, like I felt like I was, I was torturing myself essentially.
Yeah. And then an interesting fix on something like this is what qualities or character traits do you admire in other people?
Um, I like authenticity, people who are able to just be themselves at all points, um, and just be, just be not inhibited, not fearlessness in a way too, where they seem like they can just say and do whatever it is that they want to do, and they don't care. Um, so one, excuse me. So the other day, we were talking about, there was a question because, that we asked. Bola asked me this one time, and then she kept on freaking asking this question. What is your persona? And what that means is, like, if you know of a character, some kind of character in a movie or whatever the case may be, or you can combine characters, you could describe the character. Who would you be if you were, completely uninhibited and that sort of thing? And so I answered the question by saying who I would be right now if I was uninhibited, and who I would be who my aspirational person was if I was uninhibited, and who I would be right now. Not necessarily aspirational, but who I would, like, if I was just becoming myself right now, who I would be if I wasn't, clamping myself down. And so I had said Chris Brown. And then I got, like, every time I say this, everybody is like, what in the fuck what Chris Brown? So, the white, you want to be a wife beater, you want to have anger management issues, you want to be a C-list celebrity, you know. But 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 the point that was being made there was the man, and I'm pretty sure that he deals with his own shit, but it appears like the dude is, like, free to be whatever the fuck he is. He's artistic. He goes out and he dances in front of people, he sings, and then he sometimes acts a fool because that's who he is. And you know, um, that's what that was about. So yeah, Chris Brown.
That's who you admire. That's the no. I mean,
I admire his freedom, or his apparent, or his assumed freedom, like what I look like, and say this man is just doing whatever the fuck he wants.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you for a fun question, if you won the lottery tomorrow, what will you do?
Definitely first and foremost, pay off all my student debt. Probably, not probably, definitely buy homes for family members. Pay off all their debt. That's first and foremost. Oh, did I? I mean, so I'm planning on quitting. That would happen tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And I would cuss everybody the hell out. You and your job, god damn it. What? Would you say to me last week? Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Everybody would be all kinds of niggas, even though I don't use that word anymore. But no. Yeah, I mean, definitely that. Travel, man. I mean, obviously invested so I can continue to travel. But then I think I would just, I would pursue the idea of just living my best life in a way that I would not now have to worry about, um, finances. Like, continue. I feel like one of my good traits is my insight, and so I want to continue to do that. Like, my aspirational person, if you want to talk about that, it's a combination of Jay-Z and Tony Robbins. So I want to be able to impart knowledge. I always think about what I would need, and so what I'm learning, and so I try to impart that on my children. I feel like as a result, like, I have some good bits and nuggets that I can share, and I want to get better at doing that. And so I would, continue to do what I've started doing, but have no financial worries about it.
Yeah. So let's unpack the last thing you said, which is, the things you would imprint on your kids. What values, as a parent and you have young kids, what values are you hoping to imprint on them?
Um, Saying, same one I was saying to myself, stay in the pain, stay in the discomfort, learn and grow from it, and be grateful. Always practice being grateful. That's the true meaning of happiness. And don't let anybody limit you. My parents being immigrants, they definitely focus on education, and that's what I started doing. And I've since shifted for many reasons. One, I realized that the average millionaire was a C student. I also realized that a lot of what's going on right now in terms of gaining wealth has nothing necessarily to do with how well you did in school. Yes, if you want to make sure that you're living, you increase the odds of you living a good middle class life. In a country such as the United States, you are probably going to be able to do that by getting good grades and getting a good job, but you're not necessarily going to be happy. And so, I think we're fortunately not in a place where I need to worry about my children and their ability to get that good job like we've done. I think they're good. Hopefully, nothing, you can't tell what's happening in the future, but my thing is, do you be happy? Like, go and pursue your passion. And if you haven't found it out yet, that's what you should be focusing on, and stop worrying about how you compare to these other kids in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you would like to thank or express your appreciation for that you haven't had the chance to yet,
Haven't
especially publicly?
that I haven't had the chance to.
Yeah.
Hmm, you said especially in what?
Publicly,
Publicly.
given this is the world is going to see this, and
Damn. That I haven't thanked. Um, I mean, I feel like I have thanked them, but like my brother, who, like I said, he was the one who basically raised us because my dad wasn't around. Like, we did what we saw him do. He played football, so we played football. He went to college, so we went to college. He was doing well in school, so we felt like we needed to do well in school. When I went to Pittsburgh for undergrad, I went there because he had gone to University of Pittsburgh, and so he was there at the time, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I was like, oh, that's where I'm gonna go. When I got there, he gave me, I was 18. He gave me a fake ID, so I was able to, you know, get my drinks whenever I wanted to. He had a car when he was there, so I was driving when I was like, I don't know if I thanked him enough for for all those things that he did. So I mean, I'll go with that one because that's definitely true. And I can't think of, and I know that I probably have thanked him, but I maybe not as much as I need to.
yeah, no, that's good. Are you going to say his name?
Oh yeah, Roldy, Roldy. We call him Roe, Roldy Audena.
Nice.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, yes. And for our final question, how do you define success?
Shit. How do I define success? For me, not success in general. For me,
Correct. Yeah, yeah, correct.
I would say financial freedom because ultimately I can do whatever the fuck I want if I don't have to worry about paying any bills. Um, then I can seriously do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
So like, and just be happy all the time. So I say financial freedom is the only thing that tethers me to anything that I don't want to do. It's not knowing that I have to pay bills.
Yeah, nice. Well, we connect. That's a perfect way to end. We connected. We politic, and we will definitely do this again in the near future. Probably the part two is going to be, me talking to you and Bola combined. and capture some magic in that interview.
There it is. Are we bringing Reese in on this one and other couples, or is this going to be us two?
No, it's just it's me talking to you guys.
Okay. I mean, but you got all the answers. Are we going to like?
No, it's different. It's gonna be a different interview.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, my friend. Good times as always.
Thanks a bunch.